Good evening, YouTube. This is Kayleen Strain coming at you with number 8 in the series of my Ration mashups. And I already have a pot of water boiling on the stove, and I have a kettle for my hot drink. So tonight is going to be a bit of a mix of some British, Russian, and American stuff. And the Russian component will be this veggie caviar, which actually propped up the bag for the thumbnail. So this is the newest packaging that I've seen of this, or I hadn't seen this label before. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of vegetable component it is. So then my hot drink will be a British standard hot chocolate, not a flavored one. That will go in the foreignmre.com mug. I have a chocolate chip cookie. You know, some of these I say chocolate chunk, but this one says chocolate chip. I have the plain tortillas. A few meals ago, a few Sundays ago, I had the chipotle tortillas. And in my drinking jar, I have this MRE Star branded grape drink. This is XMRE branded nut raisin mix. I have a U.S. cheese spread. And this is a halal from XMRE. This is their pasta fagioli. It's a vegetarian one. So this has the vegetable crumble. It's the soybean, the soy protein crumbles to mimic meat. Yeah, it's a real... Yeah, I like doing these mashups, and I have 2 more meals to go, then I will be done with the mashups, and then I will get into the Sapaco box. So, but something new that at least what XMRE does with their newer halal entrees is it's a gusseted pouch, and it's the silver color. It's not the green ones that have been in that you might find in the regular U.S. military halal MREs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the drink powders in there. I'll put this one in here. These, they call these the power stick. The power sticks, they call for 12 ounces of water. I'll just go to about there on that. And These usually mix pretty well. There's Sue Nelson joining Umberetto in the chat. So this will be the last Sunday that I go this late with these streams, because there are only about 5 or 6 days left of Ramadan. Then I will go back to an earlier time. So that is a great drink done. I'll put that there. This British cocoa mix calls for 300 mils, so that will probably fill this cup. It's a little darker than the typical US cocoa mix. It's not as dark as the French ones, but it still smells very good. So what I'm going to do, as I did last time, I'm going to take the tortillas in with me when I go to put this in the pot. I'm also going to take the cheese spread in there, and those will get gentle warming on top of the pot, and this will go inside the pot. And then I will, when I got this going in the pot, then I'll come back and with the hot water for the cocoa to mix that up. So I'll be right back. There is Will from Just in Time Prepping. Thanks for dropping in. I just got started a few minutes ago. Now this cocoa mixes up a whole lot quicker than your typical American cocoa mix. I'm using my foreignemery.com spork for that. So I will put that back here. And this bag is just some random clear bag that I used to put everything in when I was organizing these meals. So I'm going to go ahead and open up some of these other items. They had an oxygen absorber in the nut raisin mix. And as you can see, it is almost all sunflower seeds. They are heavy on the sunflower seeds, but the raisins are pretty good size. Peanuts, almonds, and the sunflower seeds. I'm moving the veggie caviar. Actually, I might put that over here. Oh no, I got more than this. I have the pasta fagioli on the stove. I'm going to put the cookie there. This could either be an eggplant, it could be either zucchini, or it could be, I've seen on some Russian rations and other videos, a squash version of this. Like an orange squash or yellow squash or some combination. So it'll be interesting to see what this is like. And usually these are left cold. What I will probably do with this, yeah, I do have packs of Russian crackers that was sent to me with in the last box that I got from foreignemery.com. But I also have the tortillas, so I may skip the crackers, and I just may use one of the tortillas with some of the cheese. And then I just may use the other tortilla to dip into this. Now this appears to be one of the lightest color. This could be a squash one. And I'm just going to leave it right in the can. Instead of dumping it out, although I could. But, yeah, it fits just fine in that spot right there. So I'm going to go check on the I'm going to start warming up the tortillas and the cheese spread because I didn't want them to get too hot too fast. Well, my stove is warm enough I could just lay them right next to the burner, and they're getting warmed up, so I just flip them over. And while I wait for those to warm up, I'm going to go ahead and just, as you can see, there's a good amount of oil in this. This is like the consistency of very thin, like a pumpkin puree. I'm just going to take a taste of it by itself. Every time I eat one of these, I pick up a tomato flavor. So I'm sure there's tomato in it. And it does taste like a squash more than an eggplant or a zucchini. It's almost like I'm tasting cheese in it. So it'll be like a pasta sauce with squash in it. This is that nut raisin mix. Just a few of the sunflower kernels. You can see there's a whole bunch of the sunflower kernels in there. No salt, not toasted or roasted, which would have been a little nicer. You know, they would have had a little bit more crunch, but and kind of lacking on almonds, so there's maybe like 2 more almonds in here. And the rest is a few more peanuts, a few more raisins, and pretty much sunflower seeds. In case you missed me mixing this up, this is the grape drink. It's an MRE Star brand grape drink. It's got okay flavor. You know, it'll do the job. The UK cocoa mixes are not as sweet as the American ones, and they're not as dark in flavor as the French ones. So it's kind of a good in between point on those. But it's not too bad. You know, sometimes it's good in a while. Break it. Pretty good break there. See the size of the chocolate chunks in there. And you could dip the cookie in the cocoa if you wanted to. I'm going to go get oh, James Ortiz is in the house. Yep. See how thick that thing is? I'm going to go get I'll get rid of these cookie crumbs out of here because this is where my main's going. I'm going to go get the main and the tortillas and the cheese spread. And this will be my first time having a pasta fagioli. I've never had this particular dish before, so it'll be interesting to see how it looks coming out of a ration. I'm just going to slide this to the right. I just got a paper towel so I could wipe this pouch off, so make it a little bit easier to handle, since I just took it out of the boiling water. Here it comes. here is the pasta fagioli. It kind of looks like this is a close-up of it. It's called, but it's like a sausage. It's a vegetarian sausage crumble in with the pasta in a tomato sauce. It tastes like, see, it's got beans. And the texture of the TVP, textured vegetable protein, it is pretty close to an actual ground meat. And the pasta, as you can see, it's like a short tube, like a shortened version of a penne. Actual pieces of tomato in there. So it's actually not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and open up the tortillas. Even though I warmed these tortillas, this one kind of split, but actually I'm okay with that because I'll probably be splitting that one up anyway. And what I did with that time, and I squirted most of it inside of one of the tortillas to make a quesadilla. A little piece of a tortilla flicked off into the pasta. But I'm going to put some of this cheese on here. Something about these U.S. cheese spreads, to me, they're quite salty. And even though this pasta, to me, doesn't need any more salt, it still could use a little cheese. So I'm just going to empty this packet right into there. Now we'll fold this one over. Gonna squish the cheese around while it's still quite Well, looks like this one will have a blowout, but that's okay. The cheese will firm up as it cools. Because this is still fairly warm, the cheese did melt quite a bit, so easier to mix around in here. So it definitely adds a little bit more flavor putting the cheese in there. And putting it into pasta actually cuts down the saltiness of the cheese. Well, this is turning out to be pretty good. Now the second tortilla, since it's started to split, I'm just going to go ahead and tear it the rest of the way. I'm going to dip it in this veggie caviar. Since these are the plain tortillas, they take on whatever flavor you add to it. You know, these are your standard flour tortillas. These had a bit. But that still works. I'm going to take another drink of my grape drink. Now, just eating the cheese inside the tortilla by itself, I can definitely pick up on the saltiness. But that goes away when it's mixed into here. So, yep. If you get cheese with some of these things, or if you have just an extra cheese spread laying around and you got one of these types of entrees, put the cheese in it, and it will cut down on the saltiness of the cheese, and it will amp up the flavor of what you put it on. Especially if it's something like this that actually calls for some more cheese. because I like stuff like this with extra cheese in it. And I suppose if I really wanted to, I could have gone to my fridge and got my container of grated parm and shook a little on here, but I'll save that for another day. But being a lot less salty than this cheese spread, that would still add a lot of flavor to this dish. Of course, now that I've gotten this, I'm kind of curious what restaurant quality pasta fagioli would be like. This is the first time I've seen it in this particular dish in any form. I think Mountain House makes a version of it, but of course that will be freeze dried. I think that's one of their newer entrees. So it'll be one I might have to actually get one of these days, see how it looks after it's been rehydrated. I think it's pasta fagioli. I'd have to look up to see what it is. For sure, just to make sure that I got it correct. I just had another handful of this nut raisin mix. I'm just dipping more of the tortilla into the squash. So I guess now I've had all three versions of these that I know of. The zucchini, the eggplant, and now the squash. I don't know if there are other combinations of these that the Russian food companies make for their rations, or if these are the three main veggies that are used. Although next time I get one of these, I might actually use it as a sauce on pasta to see what it's like done that way instead of just eating it as a dip. I have heard of other reviewers when they're doing a complete Russian ration, they might put this stuff on a kasha, either like a rice kasha or buckwheat kasha, especially if it has, I think, beef in it. I think the beef would stand up to the veggie flavor more than the chicken would. But that might be worth experimenting with later. Sometimes when I gotta watch so I don't get the shadow of my foam mount over my sport grower, and I'm raising it up to give a close-up of what I got going here, because that thing does cast a bit of a shadow. And I got my little book lights on to my left. I recently changed the batteries in those. In fact, I did that yesterday so that I could have some bright light. You know, when I'm doing these earlier in the evening, I'm not using those lights. Oh, Robin, thanks for dropping in. What you're looking at is a halal vegetarian pasta fagioli. And I added the cheese spread, or at least half the packet of the cheese spread, into it. An American cheese spread. And the rest of the cheese spread I did a quesadilla inside of one of the tortillas. And then I'm dipping the other half of this tortilla. This is a Russian veggie caviar. This is the squash version, and I'm just dipping the tortilla in it. And then I have a British cocoa mix. Not quite as sweet as an American cocoa mix, but not quite as dark as the French. So it's kind of like the medium in between the two. This is a British nut raisin mix, which, as you can tell, is mostly sunflower seeds. And then this is Emery Star branded grape electrolyte drink. And there's the chocolate chip cookie I could dunk in my cocoa. The cookie has, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there are a lot of sugar crystals on the top. I don't know how well that's showing up because this thing doesn't like to focus a lot. But I can taste and feel the sugar crystals on it. But yeah, that's a good dunking cookie. It's pretty thick. It can handle the dunk. So this, as you can tell by the title, this is number 8 in my series of Ration mashups. And I have 2 more to go. I did this last year, and that seemed to be pretty enjoyable, so I decided that I'm going to do it again. And I would love to see other reviewers try this. Just collect a whole bunch of rations, break them apart, recombine them into completely new meals. Old Smoky did one. And he could have had a ration mashup last night when the packaging of his Canadian IMP poutine failed. So he grabbed a main from another ration and ate that instead. In fact, that came from an ORP, I believe. I'd have to go through that stream again, but he had another main as a backup plan when he saw that the packaging on the poutine had failed, and it was a 2019 ration. So, in fact, it's almost a good thing that he got that instead of a soldier out in the field or in a training exercise getting that ration and having that package failure. Or that soldier might not have had another entree to substitute, but Smokey did, so he went to plan B. And speaking of Smokey, I'm not able to watch it because I not only do not have a TV here, I don't have TV service, but he is one of the co-hosts of a show called Eating History on the History Channel. And it's been airing at, I think, 9 Central Time on Wednesday nights. I tried to watch it on their YouTube channel and on their website, but I don't get to do that. They don't make it available there. I would have to have a service like Hulu or I have Mediacom. It's a cable company for my internet, but I don't have their TV service, so I can't watch it unless I somehow get it connected to where I can watch on my computer. But I watch now that I got my internet, my home internet back. I watch YouTube on my computer, and I'm going to be doing more of my video editing on there when I shoot videos if I have to splice segments together. But yeah, Eating History. I'm not sure if you can go on to their, I'd have to do this myself, go to their website or maybe their YouTube channel and see if you can watch their past episodes. But what they do is they get old food, not necessarily ration foods, but just examples of old foods and eat them, or old drinks and drink them, or at least taste them. And they talk about the history of the various items that they're showing. So if you just do a web search for Eating History, you should be able to find at least a promos for it. So yeah, Old Smoky, one of our own in the ration world on YouTube, is a history maker. Or should I say a history eater? Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there because he is hoping that he and his partner will get signed for another season of it because it seems to be growing in popularity. You know, people spending more time at home, they're watching more TV, so you know, it's educational. because you get to learn about the history of various foods. Yeah, I really wish I could watch it. So if I have to get Hulu and some extra screen that I can dedicate to that, if that's what I gotta do, I don't even have Netflix, so. Because food does interest me. I would definitely check it out, or at least check out the website or their YouTube channel. The website is history.com, and then the YouTube channel is just called History, and you can tell it's the legit one by the gold H. Yeah, it would be neat for people who live outside the U.S. or Canada who might want to watch stuff like that. But as of right now, I don't think they can. Yeah, as you can tell, I polished that off. So I think XMRE did pretty good with this particular one. Eventually, I'd like to get a whole case of their halal meals. I want to try their kosher, more of the kosher meals. XMRE has full cases of 12. And then they also have a case of 6 24-hour rations. And I got one of those in that batch that I got from one of the others in the community. But some of the items in that 24-hour ration were removed. The bag was open, so I decided to go ahead and strip that one completely and incorporate the remaining items into these mashups. And for to fill out the meals, then I would just dig into my supply of condiments and drinks and things like that. So if I needed a peanut butter or jelly or something like that, I'd grab it. Or I wanted to have a drink and a cold drink in each meal. Or if I needed an extra snack or dessert, I just go into what I have and add them in. In fact, I realized that in one of them that one of the two that I have left, I didn't have a hot drink, so I decided that I'm going to get just do coffee. And I pulled out the 2 packs of the Genio coffee that I have. That is one of them that apparently is not very strong, so I grabbed 2 of those, the 2 Genio coffees that I have, 2 creamers and 2 sugars, and basically I'll just fill this mug up. Or at least to the level that I originally started with, this hot chocolate. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna dip my quesadilla in here and see what this is like with a little bit of cheese added in. Didn't get much cheese with that bite because I didn't quite get the cheese spread out there, but it does add a little extra salt flavor to this because this almost has a bit of sweetness to it. Just a small hint of sweetness to it. But just the tortilla by itself is fine. The reason why I don't have a TV is several years ago, in the previous place where I was living, I had direct TV and the phone company was doing the billing for it. So I would just have to pay one bill for that, my landline and internet. And I had a Verizon Wireless, and CenturyLink was doing the billing for that as well. And well, basically, they were killing those individual accounts at the time, even though I was paying the bill. And now CenturyLink is in the middle of a class action lawsuit, and I got a mailing about that. So I need to get my claim in pretty soon because the deadline I think is sometime next month. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Even though right now I may only get $30 out of it. It's the principle of the thing. What they're doing is overcharging, double billing for services that were not on individual accounts, and not doing other things that they're supposed to be doing. So and I've had my past issues with Mediacom, but I think they have upped their game. So they're pretty good about getting my install done, and then when I had to have my account put on suspension long after the engine worker here cutting the cable that feeds my apartment, they were good about getting modem for me. They brought me an upgraded one. Because when I had my account put in suspension, after I found out that it was a problem inside the building going to my apartment, then I basically told that guy, just take the modem back because who knows, maybe the modem got affected and you might want to check it out. So that's why I surrendered it. And now I have an upgraded modem. So unfortunately, we have no other game in town. Buildings where your apartment doesn't face in the right direction to be able to put a dish up, and plus new man. I'm in an end unit. the line of sight anyway, so that wouldn't work anyway. And plus, if you've ever had a satellite service, whether it be TV or internet, if you get bad weather, lose signal. If a plane flies over, you could lose your signal for a second or three. I'm just eating the rest of this right out of the tin. But so I will not go back with CenturyLink. Not again. But I still have my hotspot, which I've used for probably well over a year, in that time that I didn't have any. After my last run-in with CenturyLink here. So this is my backup plan. So, if I lose power, I can still get on a phone, or and plus I take it with me when I travel. Although I didn't use it when I was at the memorial, but really didn't use it much. I didn't upload the only video I shot while there until after I got back. But yeah, hotspot is a backup plan. So yeah, it's a good thing to do if even if you don't use a hotspot much. If you want to have internet access when your power goes out, a hotspot in a smartphone or a tablet, you're good to go. As long as you can get signal off of any nearby towers. Gonna chuck this in right with. So now I'm just down to my cookie and my nut raisin. Oh wow! Yeah, you don't want to be bonked in the noggin with one of those. I saw a post on Facebook earlier. And they were the if you gotta kick yourself off, just to be safe, I understand. And I've had to let people know that it's getting real. Especially if I was on a computer. And I've had to do that before I started using a hotspot more regularly than as a backup plan, or when I was doing some remote streaming or uploading or just internet access. I had to tell people that I'd be watching a whole dupe, but it's getting something like this. If you got it fully juiced and your mobile device is fully juiced, you can be anywhere where in your home, as long as you can basement of most of the time can't get cell signal down there because it's half buried into the ground. A basement, and it's concrete block walls. They form part of the foundation of the building. And if you can lightning real close, I would be kicking myself and turning my weather rate, or if you have the weather frequency on there. I do that sometimes with I have a ham radio, but I don't have a license, so I just listen. But I got the NOAA weather radio for Central Iowa programmed into it, so if I want, I can just turn that on just to get any weather updates. Well, we had rain here today, James. Unfortunately, I don't think I could it. We had a pretty fair stretch of dry days for a while. Sorry about that. I got kicked off. I don't know why I got kicked off just now because I'm running off of my my home internet, but I just got kicked off. So, anyways, I was saying, we had a heavier rain several days ago. There's very low-level thunder rumbles, almost imperceptible from the background noise, and there was some lightning, but it wasn't too much heavier than the rain we got today. It could be, I don't know, it could be weather related, if that's why my audio, hopefully when YouTube gets done processing it, and it's been taking like over 3/4 of a day for these streams to get processed. I don't know why the time has been increased for stream processing, but it's been like that for the probably all starting last month into this. I don't know if that's permanent or if it's just some system burp that's going on that they haven't figured out yet. But it's getting to be annoying because, an hour and a half or an hour and 45-minute long stream could be done with its processing in a matter of, say, 10 minutes. And now was even before I got my home internet. It was taking a lot longer, like 14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours. So I don't know if it's because of algorithms or what, or if it's the lack of, is there fewer people actually working? Yeah. In the YouTube data centers, or what? Or if it's just there are people on the system that it's taking longer. Because I've heard of other YouTubers saying the same thing when they get done doing a live stream. It doesn't show up as ready to watch playback for until the next day. So I hope they get this delay taken care of so that people who miss the streams might be able to watch them in a timely manner. Wait and then possibly still not get notified. I'm still having that issue. I'm sure many of you are. You may have selected all notifications when you turn that notification bell on, but you don't get all notifications. I know I don't, because I've had to search out channels I wanted to see if they had put up any videos lately. So. And when I'm on my computer, I'm having to, I look at a bunch of channels that I'm subscribed to, and on my computer it shows that I'm not subscribed when I actually am. So I don't know if, I don't see that on my phone most of the time when I'm watching on my phone screen, but when I'm on my computer now, I see channels. There, I just saw that I froze for a minute. I was like I was still seeing my arm on my screen a couple seconds after I put my drinking jar down after taking a drink of my Greek drink. So, again, I don't know if it's weather related that might be having a bit of a delay. Yeah, that's been going all over YouTube about this notification issue. So, anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. Since I'm probably having issues again. So I'm going to check the weather real quick. It was raining earlier, but it stopped now, so that could have been part of it. And with the construction going on, who knows what maybe have gotten a mass main line into the building and my apartment. So, but since I'm just down to my sunflower seeds and cookie and drinks, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. So again, I got 2 more of these ration mashups to go. And then I will get into my case of low sodium Sapacos that I got underneath this table. I do not have 14 and have multiples of a few. I'm just going to review one of each, and then the others I just either sit on as an emergency food item or send them off to some others to try. And these are 2016 inspection date, so they have been around a while. When I bought these from a site called emerymarketplace.com, they had these cases for $35. I heard about that from Old Smoky, so never knew where you're gonna get when you bought one of those cases. So some might have gotten a 2018 or 17. I got a 2016. So it'd be interesting to see who gets what year, what look like, and what the individual rations look like when you open them. One spaghetti one might be different from another one. I might have a couple of different items in one year than in another. So it'll be interesting to see what will be inside this box, and then after that, I think I will, once I go through all of the menus in that case, then I think I will get into that brown bag, that 1980s brown bag that Foreign MRE had, and I think I got the last one I had. It was labeled as first generation MRE, so it could have no ration heater, which I wouldn't use an old ration heater. Brown pack bread, totally different than the wheat stack that in use now. So it'll be just happen to have that separate. So because it's a brown bag bread, I will open that up with the rest of that MRE. So and of course I still have those Moors I'll do something with. Modular operational ration enhancement, all 3 packs. And I have that custom 24-hour zombie ration that I got from raise.com. So I will sit on that one for a while, and that will come out later in the summer. But coming up ration wise, so I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to YouTube for side.